Hi, I'm Hannah Tipney, the Scientific Analytics and Visualization Delivery Lead at GSK. And I've been really fortunate throughout my career to have been able to focus on the application and use of technology and data to really answer fundamental questions about human biology, disease, and health. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how we've been applying agile principles and fundamentals to the research and development process here at GSK. I'm going to share with you what went well, what didn't go quite so well, and also some of the learnings and insights that we've had from this process. So firstly, why does any of this matter? Well, I work at GSK. As I'm sure you're aware, this is a science-led global healthcare company, and the most important thing that we do is discover, make, and manufacture medicines for our patients. These are innovative medicines that enable our patients to do more, to feel better, and to live longer. And they really are at the heart of everything that we do at GSK. However, the challenge with bringing a medicine to our patients is that this is very difficult. This path can take a really long time. It can be between 10 to 17 years, costs a lot of money, up to $800 million, depending on the disease population and the types of studies that you're doing. And after this huge investment of time and money, the actual chance of us getting a medicine to a patient is incredibly small. Only approximately 1 in 5,000 compounds or chemicals that we screen in early discovery make it to a patient. There's less than a 10% success rate once you reach clinical studies. So we have this very structured and defined way to bring medicines to patients, but it can be incredibly difficult. And so within this environment, I and my team and all of us at GSK are trying to bring new therapies to our patients. So what do I do within this world? As I mentioned, I am a member of the Scientific Analytics and Visualization team, SAV for short, and our mission is to really support R&D, research and development, in achieving our pipeline goals. And what that means for us is that if we are successful, we will be fundamentally changing the way in which GSK discovers and delivers drugs to patients. So how do we do this? In my part of the business, within SAV, we are harnessing new and emerging methods, methods such as data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence. We use advanced analytics and visualization processes, and we are doing really exploratory projects and harnessing that with domain-specific and cross-domain knowledge. And the reason we do this is we want to fail fast, we want to learn quickly, and we want to be able to rapidly prototype solutions to problems which our scientists have. We're working in a space that is very high risk, but also very high reward. If we are able to shift the dial on how much time it takes to move through one of those chevrons on the previous slide, if we can increase the probability of success so that more of our science can make it to patients, and if we can reduce how much something may cost so that we can do more for different therapies or different medicines, that is our aim. And so within SAV, we focus on bringing the principles of data science and visualization and embedding these processes within the wider R&D pipeline. And specifically, we focus on, can we support pipeline progression decisions? And also, can we perhaps optimize a process that already exists? A key challenge for us, however, is, as you can imagine, R&D is big. We work from target identification through compound identification all the way through to clinical across multiple therapy areas. So there's lots of space for us to be able to play. And so we have really worked on bringing focus to our work. And one of the ways we do that is actually using this quadrant quite often. And you can see that the ideal space to play is in this top right-hand side. This is the area of opportunity. There's some problem. There's something that we can solve that if we could just make it better, it would make a massive impact on the business. And not only is it something that we could do, it's something that the business wants us to do. It will change, so it's actionable. And it's quite easy to see when you're in this space. We have support from the business. We can see that it's contributing to a decision. We understand our value drivers. Is it speeding something up? Is it saving time, money? And do we think we're going to make better medicines, more effective medicines with a greater probability of success in this space? What is less easy to do is to keep out of the other boxes And this is something why we come back to this time and time again. It's quite easy to drift down into this area of distraction. These are areas where we could do something, we could help out, but really the impact of us being involved is quite small. And typically we find work in this space can be transitioned to more self-service activities or upskilling of our business partners, our scientists, so that they can actually learn some of these skills and become more self-sufficient themselves. The area in the top left-hand side is actually a little more challenging. So these we've called learnings, and we can quite often work in this space. There's a big problem. It seems like we could solve something, but maybe it's not quite aligned with the business. Maybe the business area we're working in is not the right time for them to be doing this. Maybe they're working on something else right now. And this doesn't mean that this isn't a great idea. It doesn't mean that there isn't a problem here to be solved, but we have to do things at the right time with the right people to really shift the kind of way that we're working. And what we can end up being is in a space where we do a huge amount of work and nothing changes in the business. I'm sure many of us have worked in areas where we ran a pilot study and then it fizzled out. It didn't get used. And so that's one of the areas we're trying very hard not to be in. And then clearly in the bottom left-hand corner, if it doesn't have any impact and it's not actionable, it's irrelevant and we shouldn't be doing it. So how do we bring this transformational input of data science, technology, visualization into our research and development pipeline here at GSK? Firstly, we're very fortunate within SAV. We have an exceptional team of people, a large number of which are data scientists. And our data scientists bring a collection of skills across the board and a range of experience and expertise. And being a data team, we tend to track and understand what those are using visualizations such as the one on the right here, which is showing you the distribution of some of the skills and the expertise within our group. But what's really important about our data scientists, and actually everybody within our SAV team, is that when we're working on projects, we think about roles, not our individual people. We work in a highly matrixed environment within GSK. And so although people may have traditional titles such as data scientists or analysts or a data engineer, they have skills and capabilities that span these roles. And so what that enables us to do is to select the right capabilities for the project. We don't think about who is necessarily the right person for the job. It's what are the capabilities that are needed to succeed in this project. So for example, we may have somebody who is traditionally an analyst, but they have very, very strong maths and stats background, which pushes them into the data scientist space. And that may be the right collection of skills for that individual for that project. So how do we transition this data science capability, this visualization solutions into the business? Well, not only do we bring and realize value to R&D by bringing this exceptional solution to a very, very important problem, the way that transitions into value is if the solution is actually being used, if the solution is actually being applied. And that is the difference between us just spending the time to define what could be useful to actually turning that definition into value realization, is making an impact on the business. And you can think of this in another way. This really happens when you shift from the difference of data science being done to a part of the business versus data science being done in partnership with you. And this is something that we talk about and reflect on quite frequently. We've all had things done to us that maybe we didn't want to happen. It was the wrong time. And the people doing it may have been very enthusiastic and had the best possible intentions. However, it still didn't feel particularly comfortable for us. We wouldn't want to repeat the experience and probably didn't get the value that we needed or the results that we wanted from that situation. Whereas when we really are working in partnership with our scientists, with our business, we are doing data and analytics together, focused. And a key part of our way of doing this is utilizing another part of our amazing talent that we have within SAV, and that's the delivery team. Now, traditionally, within our organization, these people may have been called, they're the helpers, they're the translators, they're the people that can talk between the more technical side of the business and the more scientific side of the business. However, that is somewhat of a disservice to these individuals. The people within our delivery team have a huge breadth of knowledge and a diversity of skills within biopharma and drug development. They have a significant background ranging all the way from target identification and manufacturing through to clinical trials and clinical data management. They understand the difference between making a vaccine, a small molecule, an antibody, or even some of our cell and gene therapies. And they have worked in various different therapeutic areas across the business. They really know what it takes to bring drugs and medicines to our patients. But on top of that, they are also data analysts. They're informatics and visualization experts. They also know how to do some project management, project leadership, change management. So when you think about the additional people within these teams, the people that really drive the value and make these solutions work, they're bringing an additional collection of capabilities. They are not just helpers and translators. They are fundamental to the success of these projects. So now you understand a little bit more about GSK, what we do, and how, in particular, the SAV team, the Scientific Analytics and Visualization team, does this. I want to reflect back on now, how have we used the Agile framework within this? As I said, we are in an area of highly exploratory work. Most of the stuff that we do will fail, and that's okay, but we need to fail fast. And we're tackling problems which we may not quite know how to solve. So in this environment, you can imagine that using Agile fundamentals or methodologies or frameworks looks quite similar to Agile in other environments. We have DevOps boards, we have backlogs, we work through stages and life cycles of our projects. We use tried and tested methods such as pains and gains. What are the jobs to be done? We use test and learn cards. We have understand what our squad looks like and the different roles and capabilities within that squad. We've also utilized Agile coaches to come and sit within us. However, what's been really, really important to us is understanding that it's not really about us doing Agile, it's about us being Agile. And that's one of the biggest differences that we've come to recognize between applying Agile in more of a software development environment to potentially a R&D scientific environment is the people that we work with, our scientists, have day jobs, and their day job is to deliver a medicine. And they are doing that right now. We do not have the luxury of a squad who is only focused on our analytics solution. The people on our team are working on multiple projects at a time. They are wearing multiple hats, so they may not even be fulfilling the same role at the same time. And one of the real challenges we have is that we cannot stop getting our medicines to patients. We cannot stop an area of research that we're doing. And so while we're trying to embed these new ways of working, bringing new technologies to support our scientists in their endeavors, we cannot stop the car. We have to literally try and change the wheels while the car is driving. Patients are literally waiting for us. So one of the challenges that we do have in these highly matrix teams is how do you make Agile with all of its ceremony, its structure, its rigor, even though it's quite flexible, work in an environment like this? And that, to be honest, has been a little bit of trial and error. And I'm going to reflect now on some of the aspects that we've learned really over our journey here. The biggest learning should really be no surprise. I've alluded to it already. Quite often here, people talk about 70-20-10 in terms of learning, training, all those types of metrics. But for us, 70-20-10 is really around people, technology, and algorithms, with the 70 being people. If we do not have our people aligned, if we do not have a common purpose, we could have the best algorithms and technology in the world, and we will not make a difference. So Agile has given us a framework and also some tools to help us be able to bring people along, a real focus on communication, on value, on alignment. And that's meant that we've been able to have everybody working together more effectively, those from the more technical side and those from the more scientific side. And the other 4 areas that I just want to touch on are really things which we've learned that comes from how do we keep our people engaged and focused and really driving towards a solution that we all want, which is to get better medicines to patients. So first, the culture within research and development is quite different to the culture as you would imagine probably in a software development house. So we have researchers focused on their scientific projects. They have their own cadence of working. They are in teams that have high priorities elsewhere, which may not be the work that we're doing with them. And so at first, it can be quite challenging to move into this pace, this language that comes with Agile, daily stand-ups, talking about stand-ups, squads, our scrums. That can all actually alienate our scientists. Our scientists are deep, deep experts in their field. Pretty much everybody has a PhD. These are smart people. They know what they're doing. And they want to work with people who understand what they're doing as well. And using highly technical language, as in technical in the technology space, alienates us. And it isn't a trust builder. So we typically don't now talk about where we're running this project in an agile way. We just talk about how everyone will have a defined role. We're going to focus on the value, and that you can expect us to be in frequent contact with you over the next few days, for example. We've tried really hard not to be a slave to the process of Agile and be more about bringing what works for Agile to us and dropping everything else that doesn't. And key to that is this alignment. Agile has given us tools which has made it much clearer and easier for us to align. Things like the definition of done, jobs to be done, kind of contracting on the amount of time and availability, that this is what we're focusing on for this next period of time. And that has really enabled us to be very defined around our value, what our deliverables, accountabilities and capabilities are, which, as I'm sure you're all aware, means we have a much smoother running process. However, each team we work with is completely different. They're working in different areas of the business. They have different demands on their time. Somebody working on a small molecule design is in a completely different space than somebody who's trying to potentially design and generate antibodies. And so we have to continually evolve. And we've done some of this formally. As I said, our team within SAV, a lot of them have come directly from the scientific discipline. Most of them have only transitioned within the last 2 years. They know their science incredibly well and are hugely skilled in data. But Agile process, Agile fundamentals, we had to upskill in that. And we've done that through a combination of coaching, on-the-job training, and we also frequently use after-action review. So we are continually evolving and refining what we do, finding what works for an individual, and then applying that and moving forward quickly. But we are definitely not too proud to drop something and admit when something has not worked particularly well and moved on. And then finally, we've had a real focus on making everything that we do robust and repeatable. And this is so that we can transition what we're doing to as full and near production and self-serve as possible. And this requires us obviously making sure that we have incredibly high standards. We use industry standards across all of our coding and interactions, documentation, full testing for everything that we put out. And this enables us to then rapidly reuse everything that we have, and also spread our way of working across the business in a way that is enabling us to maximize our impact on the business. We are only one team, but by sharing these ways of working and these standards and these structures, we're already starting to see a ripple effect to some of our business partners that we work very closely with, and also other areas of the organization that have seen the success that we've been having and are wanting to work or attempt to work in a similar way. So that is briefly around the story of our journey that we've been on, bringing Agile fundamentals and methodologies into R&D at GSK. I look forward to hearing from some of you at the speaker sessions, and thank you for the time today.